This show is proudly brought to you by the #Me Network.
Bits of Awesome, the retro gaming podcast.
Welcome to Bits of Awesome. I'm Phid McAwesome.
And I'm Evil Card.
And this is our retro gaming show. We come to you every week via #me.co.nz, iHeartRadio, iTunes, and everywhere else. And this week we've got quite a bit to talk about. We're going to be talking a bit about PlayStation since it's their 20th anniversary.
Yes, we... well, first you opened with a bit of a lie. You said we come to you every week. We come to you when you're ready for us.
Oh, exactly. Well, this is our first one in over a month. I mean, last month was crazy for both of us.
Yeah, sort of things are turning normalish, except for Christmas. So we should actually do this every fortnight, week, whatever.
Yeah. So, we'll, as we say, every episode we're going to do our best to try and become more regular. But welcome back.
Yeah, you too. It's been a while.
Also, I think the first thing we sort of need to talk about before we get into King of the Perks and have a bit of a catch-up is I think we should dedicate this episode to Ralph Baer.
I think so, who passed away today, aged 92.
Exactly. If you don't know who Ralph Baer is, he is the father of the video game. He created the brown box back in the day, which he ended up selling the rights to Magnavox, which they then created the Odyssey, which went on to create this massive industry that we know as console gaming now.
Yep, too true.
If you're actually looking for a really interesting podcast about Ralph Baer, Major Nelson interviewed him about 6 months ago, and it's an awesome interview. They went to his workshop, had a look around, and had a good chat to him. And he didn't just invent the brown box, which became the Odyssey. He also invented Simon. You remember that game?
Yes, stupid, annoying game it was.
He invented that. He invented the idea of the light gun. There was all sorts of things. It's crazy. He talks about it in Major Nelson's podcast.
Yeah, and Major Nelson talked about visiting him on our podcast.
He did too. So
we pretty much knew the guy, to be honest.
Yeah, so we're directly connected to Ralph Baer. He was a good mate of ours.
Yeah.
So anyway, King of the Perks.
King of the Perks.
So you'd expect after a month of not actually recording anything that we'd have bucket loads of stuff, right?
Yeah, completely.
So what have I nothing, I don't think.
My picks is I got a bundle of Nintendo Advance games from online, from the Boss Level group, and I got a random op shop pick of a Nintendo 64 game, Banjo-Kazooie, for $2.
That's pretty good going.
Sadly, after a month, that's all I've picked because I've just been so crazy this month and haven't had a chance.
Yeah, I think you're still doing a hell of a lot better than me. I actually can't remember anything. When did I pick up those DS games? Would have that been? It must have been this month.
Yeah, it would have been this month.
Yeah, I've in this year I've turned into somewhat of a Nintendo fanboy, weirdly enough. After mocking the consoles and saying they're all for kids, it looks like I've become one. So I've picked up some DS games, but I've actually had a good week on Trade Me this week. I got a Master System lot on its way, featuring a complete version of Buggy Run, which is one of the rarer Master System games.
Yeah, definitely.
Also, Mario Kart Double Dash for GameCube, which is a pretty awesome game. So I've got some Trade Me picks on its way, but the Buggy Run, I don't know. I won't include that yet because, as far as I know, it might turn up and it might have X-Rental stickers all through it and engraving on the cart or whatever. So, but that's looking promising.
I'll tell you what, I'm going to call it and just say that you've won it because all I've picked up is a couple of things.
Oh, I don't know. I reckon you've won it because you've actually picked up something. So, like Banjo-Kazooie for $2 at an op shop that pretty much wins it for me.
I mean, apart from the fact it wasn't in a box, it's in really good condition as well. I've previously owned Banjo-Kazooie, and I traded it a few months ago because the copy I had was in really rubbish condition. So I thought I'll flag that off. Somebody wanted it. A better copy will come across at some stage, and as the video game karma gods usually are, it did turn up.
Yeah, so there you go. I reckon if you're saying I've won, I'm saying you won. Let's call this one a draw.
Yeah.
But the reality is I haven't picked up anything.
I'd say the reality of it is we've both been slack this month.
Yeah, but it has been really busy. We've had a lot of other things on, and thank God all that madness has ended. So,
the madness has ended for you. It's getting busier for me at the moment.
Yeah, I hear you, but I reckon we can stick to a fortnight commitment for this.
Yeah, definitely. We're going to have to because we've also got another podcast starting up very soon, which is going to be a general gaming podcast. Me and V8 Matty from #Radio are doing a fortnightly gaming show covering all the new games.
Can't let those new school bastards beat us. Oh, hold on a minute, you're one of them.
Someone's got to stick up for Team PlayStation in this because I've got the PS4, Matt's got the Xbox One. If he did the show all on his own, it would be the Xbox show.
Yeah, true that.
So, anyway, we're just going to have a bit of a random catch-up before we jump into the PlayStation stuff. A couple of weeks ago, finally, Microsoft released Game Over. Yeah,
there was really great Actually, it was a good doco. Did you enjoy it?
I did enjoy it. I thought it was well filmed. It was awesome narrative on it. I didn't learn a heap from it. But I think the way that they covered off the event, the way they built up to it, and sort of exposed the facts before they exposed it came out, before they did the dig.
Yeah, so for those listening that don't know what Game Over is, it's the E.T. documentary. What rumoured, I guess, is a good way of putting it. Oh, anyone that's listening will know the story. So the E.T. games were buried in a desert, and basically they went and dug them up to see if it was myth or real, and they actually found some cards.
I mean, up until this year, it has been an urban myth that they were all buried. We all sort of hoped it was a true story, but there was never any sort of facts out there to prove that it was there.
Mm. And I think, yeah, like you said, it was well cut and all that. I think it was kind of a little bit anticlimactic watching it because for months we'd heard that they had found the cards.
Yeah.
And they'd also already sold them on eBay. It sold one lot of them on eBay for ridiculous prices. But what they should have done is not sold any and probably tried locking it down better that it didn't happen until this film came out. Because imagine not knowing.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that would have made it more suspenseful. You would have been like, "Oh my god!"
Well, we had the spoiler from the man himself on our podcast once again when we had Major Nelson on our show. He was talking about the dig.
Yeah, our good friend Major Nelson. So I think, so it was a good documentary, well worth a watch for any video game fan, any Atari fan especially, because it actually had a bit of information around Atari that I didn't know. Some good interviews with people that worked at Atari.
It was awesome to see. I think we've all sort of heard about the party culture there, but they went a bit more in depth with the party culture there, like how serious their parties were.
Yeah, I was about to say the exact same thing. I think that surprised me the most. Like, you'd heard the rumours that it was a kind of, I guess, what I thought relaxed atmosphere, but it was like a hard out, like kind of like the Playboy Mansion, but there.
Yeah, sex, drugs, and video games.
Yeah, crazy, eh?
See, I love the movie because I'm an Atari fanboy. I never owned the Atari, but I seem to have just really gotten into Ataris, and I've got the 7800 and 2600 complete in box. I've got an old Woody Atari sitting there. My collection of Atari stuff's grown quite a bit in the last couple of years. And like I said, I never owned one as a kid, so I don't have that. I never had that attachment as a kid. Like I have with Sega stuff, it's a personal attachment, and which is why I got into collecting it. But
it doesn't surprise me that you love Atari because you do like the older computers. It's definitely a Phid-like system, I reckon.
See, yeah, I get into a lot of the Generation 1, Generation 2 machines.
Yeah.
A bit of the obscure ones I've never heard of. I really love obscure machines.
Yeah?
Yeah, like I've got a good collection of Soundic stuff as well, which I think the only reason I got into collecting that is because the name had Dick in it.
If you were to be a console, I would actually pick you for a 2600.
Why is that?
I don't know. It sums you up. You love that older stuff. It's not like really super old, but it's like the first console. I don't know. You're just a 2600.
Yeah.
I'll just refer to you as that now.
Okay. Phid 2600.
Yeah, rolls off the tongue so well too, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah. So game over. Out of 10, what would you give it?
Oh, I'd give it 8. I rate it that highly because of the way it was cut and it told a really good narrative. The only reason it doesn't get a 10 is because there were no surprises.
Yeah, and I think I'm along the same lines. So no surprises. We knew the outcome. It was good. It was quite informative. A bit of that behind-the-scenes stuff was really good. We've had a good year, sort of, for video game documentaries, eh? The documentary.
It's been a big year for video game anniversaries this year. Like, you had the Master System's big anniversary. I think there was a big Nintendo anniversary this year. Sonic had his anniversary this year.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, you got the PlayStation 1 this week.
Yeah, so it's been a good year. Do you think, this is sort of a segue into my, rant, do you think this type of exposure is a good thing for prices or a bad thing for prices?
The pricing thing I actually think is massively... I don't know. Are the movies and that influenced by the fandom? Or is the fandom or collecting obsession that is growing at the moment from the movies and exposure these machines are getting? I don't know, it's a hard call.
Yeah, because, take E.T. for example. The worst game ever made. It was the worst game ever made, and it was, although if you watch that documentary, there's some hard-out arguments to why it's not the worst game, but they made so many copies of it, they were actually buried excess and returns in a desert. Yeah. That's fact. We know that now. But if you look at the prices for that, especially on eBay, it is growing because people want that game. And obviously there's the limited edition dug up copies that have fetched hundreds of dollars.
Yeah, see, I still think E.T. is tarred unfairly.
Do you really?
I do. I mean, I think it's a shockingly bad game, but there are worse games out there. Hell, I've played some terrible games on the original PlayStation.
Yeah, to be fair, I haven't actually played E.T. Oh, I may have played it as a kid on my uncle's 2600.
Yeah, I've played it on an emulator.
Yeah.
It is pretty bad.
Yeah, it's just interesting, with that sort of exposure. Also, around that same time, that video game documentary came out, which was called Video Game, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Video Game? Yeah, whatever. And, you watch prices, especially on eBay, which is more international market, as everything sort of goes up.
Yeah.
Weird how prices do that. Annoying, but it is what it is.
Yeah, you've had some funny experiences in the last week on buy and sell as well, though, haven't you?
Yeah, I don't know. When I started this whole collecting thing, part of the enjoyment came from people you meet in the community doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
Looking after each other, giving each other deals, supporting each other. Part of what makes this a great thing is having a good community.
Yeah, and we've always talked, since we've been doing this show, about how awesome our community is.
Yeah, and always spoke really highly of it, and gave kudos where kudos is due. I kind of feel like there's this big dark side in there now. And I'm not necessarily pointing at one community in particular, I just kind of think maybe it's the silly season and everyone becomes a fuckwit at this time of year.
Yeah.
But I kind of feel like the community vibe is shadowed by people's selfish fucking nature to try feather their own nest.
Yeah, I'm noticing a growing sort of thing within the community where there were, a year ago there was people who were anti-resellers and trying to hook each other up. But those same people now seem to be, I don't know if it's a case of that they now want to make money and are becoming resellers themselves, or if it is a case of, well, fuck it, if they can do it, I may as well.
Yeah, we've had this argument about resellers before, so I'll try not to go down that dark fucking alley again, because it just pisses me off.
The only thing that I'll repeat is I don't have a problem with resellers that aren't fleecing the, driving up the prices.
Yeah, and this is where, or same with people that jump on a price fad and then price their shit up fucking high so that it sort of makes it the normal in the market.
Yeah.
Or if you're begging fucking resellers, don't become a reseller, because that is the biggest fucking hypocritical thing you can do.
Yeah.
Like, you can't play Robin fucking Hood on stealing from the rich and giving to the poor while being Dr. fucking Hook.
Yeah.
And that type of shit fucks me off to no end. You can't, act like you're somehow taking the moral high ground while all you're doing is the behaviour you're publicly hating against.
And how do you feel about people getting deals from within the community and then reselling on TradeMe?
Okay, there's a fucking game that's done this in particular.
Yeah.
And that's...
You know exactly what I'm alluding to here.
Yeah. That's another bullshit thing. If you get a good deal out of anyone in any of the communities you're part of that you getting that deal is in good faith from the person giving you the deal, right?
Correct.
So, like, for example, you have given me, I'll just use this, Star Wars on the N64.
Yep.
Like, that's one of the ones that I'm just thinking off the top of my head. Terrible game.
Yeah.
Right? Because I don't like Star Wars.
Yeah.
But under no circumstance would I ever put that on TradeMe to make some kind of money.
Yeah, I think that is one of the games I gave you, isn't it?
Yeah, it was one of the Star Wars ones for N64 anyway.
Yeah.
I wouldn't put that on TradeMe at an inflated price or any kind of price, because you gave me that in good faith that was one of your doubles that you knew that I didn't have and you were sort of helping me out.
Yeah.
If I chose further down the line to, say, trade it off for something I wanted, that's probably a little bit different. Whereas if you're then blatantly putting that on TradeMe for something higher or whatever, I've just made money out of something you gifted me.
Yeah.
I think that's bullshit.
Well, this goes full circle back to earlier in the show. I mentioned about the sound deck consoles that I was collecting, or do collect. I actually got given one of those about a year ago from one of the guys in the community that we mainly trade within. And I was given that free. A good bloke in the page, we caught up one day and he goes, "Oh, here mate, I don't collect these, you have it." Now I've since found another one, bought another one just to get a couple of carts out of it. So it ended up that I had a double up of exactly the same console. So I actually gave that to another guy in the community. Free. All he had to do was pay the shipping.
Dear God, that pay it forward fucking thing. How dare you speak of something so fucking high and mighty, Phid? Jeez, what's this goodwill you're fucking talking about? I haven't seen any of that in ages.
Yeah, but that's the way I think it should be, eh?
Yeah, like, there's, for example, a game without, like, Cubic Ninja, right?
Yeah.
It's a Nintendo 3DS game that 2 weeks ago no one gave a fuck about. It was a shit puzzler game, and then all of a sudden a homebrew exploit so you can jailbreak or allow homebrew stuff to run on your 3DS.
Yeah.
Now, if you are then asking people in your community to send you that game because they can get their EV games for fucking next to nothing, and then you're turning around and selling them on TradeMe at the fucking inflated price, $60, $70, $80, isn't that a scumbag fucking move?
I think so, bro. It's it's fleecing the community.
Yeah, I think so too. It's like, that type of shit can't... That's not on. Like, for example, I've got a 3DS. I have no intention of homebrewing or hacking my 3DS at all. However, before fucking Homebrewgate, I actually wanted that game to just be able to play it.
Yeah.
And now, if I want that fucking game, I've got to then look on Trade Me and look at every motherfucking asshole out there that's inflated this price, including people that have asked within the community we're a part of for a copy of that game so they can make a fucking smoking off it. It's bullshit.
Yeah. I think if you're doing that, the only right thing to do is to hook that person up that you bought it off.
To the value of something that you're trying to get out of that.
Yeah.
Because if that's what you think it's worth, then you should be paying that fucking back somehow.
Yeah, exactly.
In my opinion.
Yeah.
And then on that note, how do you go about curbing this negative shit in the community? Is it a problem that people will always sit back and do, and it's just become more visible because we're part of it, or because it's heading up to Christmas and everyone turns into a fuck knuckle at Christmas? Or how do you go about curbing it?
This is the tough one, eh? I mean, the only thing... I mean, we have the ability to just say, look, guys, let's start hooking each other up again. Start working like the team we were a year ago. And hope like hell that someone out there listens. Or do we go and say, okay, if you're going to be a dick, we're just going to start kicking people out of the group?
Well, I think it's, one, we are a community. We should be there all to help each other out. None of us like seeing inflated prices.
None of us like paying them.
No, so why should we be then saying one thing in a closed group or a community, and I have no doubts that it doesn't just happen in the community we're part of, but then go out and walk a different tune?
Yeah.
And I guess there are methods to go about curbing that type of thing, like someone once, in our community in particular, created that map, right?
Yeah.
And that's a great idea. Hey, look, if you hit by now, someone in these areas can go pick it up. And
that was an awesome idea, and shout out to Joel for doing that as well.
Yeah, it is a great idea. But, now, this is probably going to get some hate, but I don't know if I could trust most people on that map at the moment.
And why's that?
Just because of how people have been behaving like the last month or so. There are some people on there undoubtedly I could trust.
Yeah.
But when there's this other type of behaviour going on in the scenes, how do you know that it's actually going to go through with? Or am I being a cynical cunt?
I don't know. I think there's, to be honest, I think there's a bit of cynicism there. Is that a word?
Give me some positivism.
Yeah, well, most of the people on that particular map in our group, I've dealt with personally. Most of them I've actually been around and caught up with them at their house, apart from anyone on the East Coast, because I haven't been to the East Coast in the last year. But anyone basically from Auckland down to Taranaki and around the Waikato area, I've dealt with all of those people in person, and most of them are top blokes.
And Timaru, bro.
And Timaru. But the thing is, I've seen is a lot of the people that seem to be sort of fleecing their own nest, as you said before, seem to be the ones that have sat back and not really done a hell of a lot in the group.
Yeah, and it's just sad, like, a few things with people getting upset about people calling Trade Me deals and stuff like that. I kind of think that Trade Me should be about, like, Trade Me's a last resort. As collectors, I don't think we should be looking at Trade Me as a honey hole, because it's not.
Oh, it's not.
A lot of good stuff, but man, you're going to pay those prices all the time?
Yeah, exactly.
And so maybe, Trade Me is about the person who has the deepest pockets wins.
Yeah.
Okay, it's different if you want to call something because you've been searching for it forever. I didn't call Street Fighter for Master System on there, and God knows I've been wanting that game forever. I just bid like a rich man on it.
Yeah, well, see, this is where I differ from you. If I have found something on Trade Me that I particularly want, I will call it and say, hey guys, I'm really after this. But in saying that, I don't do it every time I see something I want. I sort of do it when it's saying I really, really, really want. So far, I don't think I've been outbid by anyone when I have done that, but I've only done it, I think, that I can think of in the last 2 years. I think I've done it twice. Yeah.
I can't even remember seeing you do it.
I did it on my SC3000. SC1000, no. My old school Sega.
Oh, yeah. But then look what happened with
my
that.
SG1000, sorry.
Look what happened there, though. That's a good example of you actually kind of getting screwed over by the people in the community that should be looking out for you.
Yeah, there was a couple of people that did jump on there and pull a couple of dick moves, but nobody outbid me. The only person who tried outbidding me was our spooky mate.
Oh, yeah.
He seems to have gone solid.
Back recently.
Oh, has he?
Yeah, he'd been quiet. I just saw him ask for a buy now on auction today. I was like, fuck, where has he been?
Yeah. He's been saving his money by the sounds of it.
Yeah.
So there's one game at the moment I'm currently watching, and it's one that you sent me a link to, and it's Resident Evil 0.
Yeah, I know you're after that game.
And I didn't call that one, but I just got outbid this afternoon.
Bugger. But that's
if there's any listeners out there that has a copy of that they want to get rid of, Resident Evil 0 on GameCube, hook me up.
Yeah, do it. He's been searching for it since the beginning of time.
Yeah, it's actually one of those games. I've turned down offers for it in the past because people have wanted ridiculous prices for it.
Yeah.
And
see,
it is one that I will trade well for.
Yeah, and see, like, me and the other local guy, he gets up and does all the garage sales. He gets some amazing deals.
Yeah.
And if I've got something that he's after, he'll come over and we'll work out some kind of trade.
Yeah.
I've given him all sorts of systems and swap for games, and, you know, eventually I get good stuff too. Like, I got the Resident Evil set.
Yeah.
So, you know, my Christmas wish for the community is look after each other and don't be dicks.
Yeah.
Because we don't actually have to be dicks. There are enough reselling dicks out there that gives us a bad name without us following their lead and becoming dicks.
Exactly.
So my Christmas wish is don't be a dick.
I reckon on that note we should probably jump on to talking about some PlayStation.
We should.
Press start.
20 years old.
20 years as of Thursday last week. Came out in 1994 in Japan first. I initially think I was actually just about to look at some facts on it, and I don't think it came out here until about 96.
Yes, because I was thinking when you said we're doing a PlayStation episode, I thought, great, what was the first game I played?
95 it came out here, November 15th, 95, so it was almost exactly a year later.
Yeah, my first game I ever played, and this is such an anticlimax, was PGA 96.
Oh, wow.
And I was trying to work out how it was 96, but the console was apparently released in 94. So it was Japan a good year and a bit before us, right?
Yeah.
So that makes sense.
Now, I love the story of the PlayStation because it's the console that wasn't meant to be. It was originally Sony were working with Nintendo, which I think most people have known that for years. That sort of came out a while ago. They were working with Nintendo about creating an add-on for the Nintendo Super Nintendo or the Super Famicom, and that sort of turned sour, that relationship, and famously, Nintendo announced somebody else, being the other person being Philips, at I think at CES, I want to say.
I wouldn't have any idea.
Yeah, there you go. I'm just having a look. CES, they announced that they'd be going into partnership with Philips. Sony, of course, publicly get embarrassed by being told that, by that announcement being made, and something we didn't find out about until this year is that Sony then went and started talking with Sega.
Yeah.
And it was then going to be a console, a Sega/Sony console that they were going to start working on. And then I think it was the Japanese people at Sega pulled the pin on that deal, which they ended up going and creating the PlayStation on their own, and then showed both companies how it's done.
Yeah, I have to admit they kind of did. It was certainly the dominating console of that time. Just to go back to the Philips thing, was that the CDI?
They ended up going and making the CDI, I think, yeah.
Yeah.
Which is why there's Nintendo titles on the CDI.
Yeah.
Oh, not Nintendo titles, there's Mario titles and Zelda titles on the CDI.
Yeah, I heard some poor things about those games.
Yeah.
So clearly Sony won that one.
Yeah, exactly. By the looks of it, it was the best thing that could have happened. Sega, from what I can remember of the story, they started working on Night Trap and stuff like that to be on this Sony/Sega device, and they ended up famously going on the Mega CD instead.
Yeah, unreal.
So it's interesting to think sort of where they would have ended up being if they had gone with Sony.
Isn't it crazy to think, like, if you look back, okay, that console started 20 years ago, and what's come since then? Just looking at a stack of PSP games, it's thinking, you know, they've given the handheld market a good go as well, haven't they?
They have. See, I loved my PSP.
Great. It is an awesome console. Great for emulators.
It's actually funny. I was sitting there the other day. The PSP thing just reminded me of it. And it's amazing how many of my funny stories about PlayStation include my wife.
Yeah.
My wife actually, Carice, actually tweeted the other day. She tweeted PlayStation to say that if it wasn't for PlayStation, we probably wouldn't be together.
Really? Just quality game time together?
No. Before we started going out as a couple, we lived in a hostel together. And I said to her one day, sort of, because I thought she was cute and I wanted to get into good books and all that. So I said, anytime you want to come play my PlayStation, come down and play my PlayStation. Anyway, I went away for a weekend, come back, and my PlayStation's gone out of my room. And I thought someone had nicked it. And no, Carice had broken into my room and taken my PlayStation because I said anytime she wanted to play my PlayStation. But yeah, we ended up playing a lot of PlayStation together, and then we ended up together.
What a great pickup line. Anytime
I know, right?
You want to play on my PlayStation.
Anytime you want to play with my joystick.
Yeah.
And then, then move on to the PS2. PS2 was, my wife bought me the PS2 as a birthday present, a Christmas present. Either a birthday present or a Christmas present, like 2 years after we'd been together. And then I pre-ordered the PSP, and because I was working early the next day, I made my wife go all the way to Palmerston North to go and pick it up on the midnight launch.
Good woman.
Yeah. The funny thing is the PSP was the last machine I paid for on launch. The last PlayStation machine. I never bought a PlayStation 3. I still don't own one.
But you got a PS4.
I've got a PS4, but technically I didn't pay for that either. So.
Yeah, true that.
But yeah, the PlayStation 1, I bought that, I saved up and lay-byed that. So I didn't get it on launch day, but I got it like in the first year it came out.
What was the first game you played on PlayStation 1?
First game I played on PlayStation 1, I think, was Ridge Racer.
Shit, that brings back some memories. I'd forgotten about that game.
Yeah. Ridge Racer was one of the first ones I played. Wipeout.
Yep, I remember that.
The first game I bought for the PlayStation was Twisted Metal World Tour.
Shit. See, like I said before, it's fucking embarrassing. 96 PGA Tour was the first game I ever played.
Yeah.
I never had a PlayStation. I didn't own one until quite late in their lifespan. Went and stayed with an auntie and uncle out of town, and they borrowed their neighbour's one. I remember seeing the price tag on it, and I could be wrong, but for some reason it's burnt into like my memory. Seeing the price tag of $1,199 on the box.
Yeah.
Now, I was remembering thinking, fucking hell, to be able to afford one of these as I sat there playing golf as like Greg Norman or something.
Yeah. Yeah, that's not one of the bigger franchises.
What are you on about? It's still the best game ever. all golf games are amazing.
I cannot stand golf games.
Yeah, that's shit.
Golf games and soccer games. I'm probably going to get hate for saying that.
Yeah,
Or football. Football games.
I didn't mind some FIFA games, but apparently the latest one's really good, but I wouldn't know, it's too new for me. But they all just play the same, really, don't they?
Yeah.
And score as a goalie and whatever.
See, the only other... I ended up buying heaps of games, like a lot of, and I bought into a lot of the big franchises as well. Like, I became a huge Tekken fan.
I could imagine you as a massive Final Fantasy fan, sitting in your lounge with your wizard's robe and your...
No, I have never bought into the Final Fantasy thing.
No, to be honest, either did I. I know it's a real popular thing, but it's just I've never had any interest in it.
I've never had... I cannot get into the concept of turn-based fighting, which is probably going to blow a lot of people away because that rules out Pokemon, it rules out Final Fantasy, it rules out Zelda. You know, a lot of iconic retro gaming franchises, and I don't get into any of them.
Yeah, I've never been I kind of miss that Pokemon thing as well. I think I was too old.
Yeah.
Although I did play Pokemon Red on Game Boy a lot. So much so that I'd actually go to sleep dreaming of looking down on things, and like I was having hard-out dreams like that. Haven't played any of the newer ones. I'd like to, but yeah, Final Fantasy's just something it never interests me.
Yeah.
This is going to sound really weird, but maybe I'm that dickhead that likes sports games saying, because Madden, I remember playing a lot of Madden on PlayStation. I think it was Madden 98.
Yeah. I can think of one person on the boss level group who's going to be stoked with that mention.
Yeah, Jason.
Yeah, a funny thing is I was just looking at some of the comments about the original games and stuff like that. Like, we put a call out there for people to sort of tell us their memories. Mm-hmm. And Jason was one of the first ones to comment, and he said a few of his mates and him used to rent the PS1 with Tekken and Ridge Racer back in 95/96. Literally stayed up all day the next night and the next day playing it non-stop. The video store kept calling them to return it, and they were like, no, we're on our way. So he's another one who's mentioned Tekken, as well as Aaron Johnson said he's been a huge Tekken fan since back in the PS1 days.
Yeah, I played the first couple of games a lot. But I think I sort of got lost on the franchise at PS2 because I came late to the PS1 scene, and I didn't really own a PS2 really at all, I don't think.
Yeah.
Oh, I did at one stage, but never, cataloguing games or anything like that for them.
Yeah.
So I sort of missed, so I'm pretty sure PS2 released with a Tekken title as well, eh?
It may have released in New Zealand with a Tekken title. I think it might have been the original Tekken.
No, on PS2.
Oh, PS2. Yeah, no, PS2 definitely
was
launched with a Tekken title. Possibly Tekken Tag. I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, I can't remember, but I remember all my mates going on about that. And I was actually a little bit jealous because I played a lot of it and was probably still playing a lot of it on PS1 at the time.
Yeah, you think about, though, with the original PlayStation, how many iconic franchises were started on that platform that are still going today, and also on other platforms as well now. Like, I mean, we've mentioned Tekken, but PlayStation also started the Tomb Raider franchise.
Crash Crash Bandicoot.
Yeah, Crash Bandicoot. What was that?
Spyro.
Yeah, well, Spyro went on to become Skylanders, which is phenomenal.
Oh, so this is how old I am. I thought Skylanders was some sort of Disney fucking toys you put on a portal.
Yeah, well, now Spyro is considered a Skylander.
Ah.
Yeah.
So is that where all good video game characters go to die, when you become a Skylander?
Well, I think he's the only sort of classic character, and he was, from what I understand, Skylanders spawned from that franchise.
Oh, wow. Didn't
but
know.
Other big franchises that started on the PlayStation as well is the Resident Evil franchise.
Yeah, did it start on there?
I'm pretty sure. Oh no, didn't start there, but it sort of became big there. Silent Hill, though, started on PlayStation.
Yes, Silent Hill. I love that first game.
Yeah.
That music, it's awesome. love it. Would love to get a copy of that now. Good luck with those current prices.
Exactly. I think, you are right too. Resident Evil didn't start on the PlayStation. First place I played it was on the Saturn, actually.
I think I played it on PC first, but that doesn't mean... I don't know where it began, and I'm not standing beside Google, so I can't...
Yeah. So, you didn't... did you end up owning a PS2 at all?
No. PS2, not really. My family didn't have one. By that stage, I was out and about, living in flats and whatnot. And the flats I was staying in, they had them. But once I got my own place, I got an Xbox. Was one of my first purchases because I wanted something different.
Yeah.
And I think it was still, you know where my loyalty lies here. So I think that was my thing. PS2, I've played a lot of it. Another good title, just thinking, Tony Hawk.
Tony Hawk was amazing. There's also a really underrated BMX game, Dave Mirra.
Yeah, Dave Mirra was really... People hated that game because it wasn't as easy as Matt Hoffman BMX, but I had Dave Mirra. I remember paying $50 for that at the warehouse.
Yeah, I had Dave Mirra Remix.
Yeah.
And it came with a free CD.
Yeah. That, I brought Matt Hoffman for PS1. I had most of the Tony Hawks. I've got a couple of them now. I got the first one, which is the most important one.
Yeah.
What else? So many good games.
Oh, the
Mortal Kombat Trilogy. I remember having that on there.
Yeah. That was where the SingStar craze started with the PS2.
Yeah. Ugh, yuck.
Yeah. Buzz.
But yeah. Now was that? I think that was really popular here. Was that worldwide, or was that just New Zealand and Australia, Buzz?
I'm pretty sure it was worldwide. Surely. But I know it was popular here because we got our own sort of Kiwi version of it at one stage, do you remember?
Yeah, and I think the guy that hosts it had an Australian... He must have been an Australian voice actor or something.
Yeah.
Or yeah. Buzz.
I loved Buzz. I used to carve up at Buzz, especially the music quiz.
Yeah. It's those little ugly controllers.
So, did you ever own the original PSP, or was that another one that you came late to?
No, PSP I owned one of them. I didn't get one on launch. I ended up buying one... Okay, so Tally's 6, 7... So it would have been probably 8 years ago, maybe 9 years ago. Ended up buying a fat one on Trade Me.
Yeah.
And this can't have been that long since they came out. And I really, really liked it. And I think the Slim and Light was released, and I ended up buying one of them.
Yeah.
I really liked it. I like it better without the games, because you can so easily jailbreak them and put emulators on them.
Yeah.
So, ironically, I spend most of my time, if I'm using the PSP, playing the likes of Sonic.
Okay.
So, there was a couple of Final Fantasy games released on there.
I think I've got a couple of Final Fantasies as well.
Yeah, Vita, I had one of them for 10 minutes.
Yeah, you turned that around quickly.
I just didn't use it. Since I've had a 3DS, I pretty much jam out on that every night.
Yeah.
I bought the Vita thinking, yes, this is going to be awesome. I got Mortal Kombat, I got Metal Gear, thinking, oh, this is great, these are games that I'll really like. And I just don't really like it. I don't find it enjoyable to play. And I sold it for dirt cheap in pretty much brand new condition a week later or something.
Yeah. Well, there you go. You just mentioned another brand that found a new life on the original PlayStation. That was Metal Gear.
Yeah, the original Metal Gear. It wouldn't be the original, because the original was on NES.
Yeah, no, but Metal Gear Solid.
Yes. Awesome game.
Yeah. Siphon Filter, I think, was a exclusive.
Yes. Love Siphon Filter. One of the few games that, because I don't know if it's that popular to collect or get now, but I'd love to get all of the Siphon Filters.
Yeah.
Played them all through when I had a PlayStation.
Yeah, I had Siphon Filter. It was, I got it from the radio station I worked at the time. We had this big nationwide promotion giving away Siphon Filter, and somehow one of them ended up in my collection.
Nice. I really enjoyed that game. Loved it. Grand Theft Auto.
You know how earlier in the show we were saying about terrible games, and I said that there were games out there that were worse in comparison to E.T.?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Take into account that it's a completely different generation, so graphically they're going to look completely different. But
I hope you're not going to say GTA.
No. One of the worst games I ever purchased was on the PlayStation 1, and it was Fighting Force.
Never heard of it.
Oh, there's a reason why. It was a horrible game.
Yeah, never ever heard of it. I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, I think I purchased it, bought it brand new, went home, and if I remember right, I think I clocked it in like an hour or 2 hours or something. It was ridiculous how fast I clocked it.
I think.
But GTA, you were just saying about GTA. There's another one that started on the PlayStation, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, was it there or PC? Must have been there. But again, I had it on PC. See, it's weird. I was a PC gamer growing up because all my parents had was a fucking computer.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't touch one of them now for gaming. GTA. There's GTA 1, then GTA London, GTA 2. They were all the top down. Then was it 3, the first one to come out? And
3 was the one that changed everything.
Yeah. So the first one, running over the Hare Krishnas.
Yeah.
Great game.
See, GTA 3, if I remember right, was launched on the PS2 first?
Yeah, I think so. I can't remember.
Actually, it may have been released on Xbox first. But see, that game there, I remember the first time I ever played that and just being like, this has just changed my complete outlook and expectation of what I want games to be.
Yeah, I think... I don't know why this reminded me of it, but Carmageddon on PC.
Yeah.
And that wasn't a PlayStation exclusive or anything like that, but I first played that on PC around the same time I played the first Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah.
And for me, that set that level. It probably explains why I'm so fucked up now, but it set that level of what I like in a game. I like a lot of violence.
Yeah. Which is why you're probably also a massive Mortal Kombat fan.
Yes. I think Mortal Kombat goes beyond that, though. That was my first playing it, Mortal Kombat 2, Mortal Kombat 1, way back before that.
Have we done a podcast since I played Mortal Kombat X?
No, because are you allowed to talk about it yet?
Yes.
Oh, we need to do that, because you were leading up to go to... What were you going to? The Auckland thing?
Armageddon.
Yes, and they had it there, didn't they?
Yeah. So I'm allowed to talk about it, but was not allowed to film it, wasn't allowed to take any photographs or anything. My God, what an amazing game. They've taken everything that we loved about Mortal Kombat back in the day, and they've just made it amazingly awesome.
Oh, I can't wait. I really can't wait.
I cannot rate that game high enough. I managed to sneak multiple turns of that.
Is it going to be worth... As I am yet to upgrade to a 1 or a 4, is it going to be the game that you need to go to the next console for, or is it still getting released on 360 and PS3?
No, this is going to be exclusive to the 4 at first, and then it's coming to Xbox One. But in saying that, if you're going to make a choice purely based on an exclusive, this week they also announced Street Fighter 5. Exclusive to PS4.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Really.
Like, awesome that another game's coming out. I fucking love Street Fighter. But really, they're making that an exclusive?
What I wouldn't mind picking is it'll be an exclusive to the PS4 at first, and then when they bring out the multiple iterations of it, like, you got to remember, they don't just bring out Street Fighter 5, it'll be Street Fighter 5, and then the next will be Street Fighter 5 Turbo, then Street Fighter 5 Arcade, and then Super Street Fighter 5 Turbo Arcade, and then Super Street Fighter EX plus Alpha Super Turbo Arcade.
Yes.
So
and don't forget the multiple versus Capcom editions that they'll jam everyone into.
Exactly. So you'll get, I'd say the first version will be exclusive to PS4, and then...
Oh, wow. That annoys me as an Xbox fan. and a Street Fighter fan. That pisses me off.
Yeah. But yeah, we've gone a complete tirade away from retro stuff, but...
Yeah, and what's cool about, just to bring it back round, the 20th anniversary of the PlayStation is the actual PS4 special editions.
Which sold out today in record time.
Yeah, same colour of the original ones.
Yeah. 12,300 being produced, or were produced.
They'll have to do another run, won't they?
I hope they don't. I truly hope they don't.
Make it really limited edition.
I think they should. As much as I would love to own one, I also would feel gutted if I did buy one of those limited edition ones and then they said, you know what, that was super successful, we're going to bring it out, but we're not going to put the limited edition sticker on it.
But you know that they probably will in order to keep sales up.
Yeah.
I think. It'd be stupid of them from a business point of view not to. Annoying as a collector or whatever, getting one and being like, yes, I secured mine. Or whatever, and then they go, oh, well, we're actually going to fucking make thousands more.
Did you see the texture on the console?
No, I've only seen a few pictures, but is it the rough sort of texture?
From a distance, it looks like it's just textured, but when you have a look up close, it's got 2, circle, X, triangle, square as the texture.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and it's the same on the touchpad on the controller. They've got the original PlayStation logos on there, and of course it's the same colour as the original PlayStation.
Yeah, it does look cool.
So, I would have loved to have got it, but completely missed out. Sold out in record time, and the only place you could buy it from was direct from Sony.
And let's be fair, you got given a PlayStation, so you can't complain.
Well, technically it's a loaner.
A loaner.
Technically it still belongs to Sony. They could
forever.
call that in at any time.
Yeah, and they won't.
We'll see.
Yeah.
But going back to the original PlayStation, like the original PlayStation, did you ever? The one that you used to play on, that was the big square one.
Yeah, I had. Again, my family didn't own one or anything for ages. My first one I played on was one of the big square ones.
Yeah.
And then I'm pretty sure I picked up one from Cash Converters later into the life cycle. That was one of the bigger ones.
Yeah.
But then I'm pretty sure I upgraded to a PS1 that I think I brought brand new from the warehouse, but it was just so shit, the quality of them, I reckon.
Was it the Slim?
So I always went back to playing my bigger one because, I don't know, for some reason I thought it looked cooler.
So the original one had faulty laser in some of them. Like, for some reason, both me and my friend's one both had the same fault. And if we were playing, like, we used to play hours and hours of SmackDown on it.
Yeah.
Which was
that was a great game.
Oh, it was an awesome game.
The first one. It was amazing.
SmackDown 2 was better.
Yeah, I've got a whole stack of, like, just random PS1 shit that I've got rid of, but I kept one game, and that was actually WCW Mayhem.
Oh,
I can't remember if it was any good or not.
No, it was shocking, that game. I owned that. But SmackDown, we used to play hours and hours of it. But to get the games to work on our old PS1, we actually had to put the disc in, close the lid, turn it on, and then turn the PlayStation upside down. And both of our consoles had exactly the same issue.
That's really weird.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if anyone else had a PlayStation that had the same issue.
Mm. And then also there was the original version, which was the audio file version.
Yeah, the one with the RCA ports on the back of it.
Yeah, and then they got rid of them in their next.
I managed to source one of those. I actually own one now.
Yeah, I don't get one of those. I think I've got 3 PS1s, but all of them are just the standard PlayStation jack thing that they went with.
Yeah, I've got 2, I think, at the moment. Or 3 if you count the Slim model.
Mm.
See, and then with the PS2, there was 2 different Slim models of the PS2.
Was there?
Yeah, there was one which was a matte finish and one that was shiny.
Yeah.
So I've got one of each of those.
Yeah, I've got a black one and I got a black PS2 and a silver PS2, and then I got a black Slim one and a silver Slim one.
See, I haven't got any of the silver ones yet, eh?
I think my silver one's chipped even.
Every time I come across a silver one, some dickhead's drawn on it with Vivid.
Yeah, see, I think I could be getting rid of my fat black PS2 But I'll be keeping the silver one because it's actually quite nice looking.
Yeah.
There's no drawings on it, no real scratches or anything. It's actually in quite good condition.
Yeah. Yeah. So I was just thinking as well, another game that I'd love to talk about that sort of I played hours and hours of was Music and Music 2000.
I never got into them. Never played them.
I
either.
actually, back in the day, I thought I was going to be a famous rap star, and I recorded an entire album with music that was made on Music 2000.
You big juggalo.
Yeah.
And how can we talk about PlayStation without talking about two games that I really remember? Team Buddies and Point Blank.
I never played Team Buddies.
Oh, fuck. The sad thing is, you'll probably never get to fucking play it.
We got a mention from Dick Steele as well, who said Team Buddies. Like, his whole comment is Team Buddies, that is all.
That's all you need to comment. You need to play it. It's amazing. Unfortunately, you'll probably never get a copy for cheap. If you do, you've got to pick it up. It sells for like anywhere between 40 and 50, probably even more on Trade Me. A workmate at my work actually has a copy, and he's like, no, not selling it. Last one I saw went for $300. And obviously he inflated thinking, oh yeah, it's worth $300. It's not worth $300, dude. You should just hand it over. If you're listening, look, give it a good home. Give it to me. I'll look after it.
And another one that I used to play the shit out of and I'd love to get back was, what's that Capcom school fighting game?
Bully?
Nope.
No?
It's a Capcom one. It's a fighting game similar to Street Fighter.
The school one.
For some reason the name is completely gone. I'm just going to quickly Google it. Capcom School... Rival Schools.
Oh, Rival Schools. Yeah, I never played it, I don't think.
Rival Schools was good, and I think that one there is quite hard to come by now.
Yeah, no, I've never played it. I have heard about it, but never played it. Time Crisis.
Time Crisis was ace.
I remember jamming that on my 14-inch black and white TV. Now, that took fucking skill, because some of the targets were a different fucking colour.
Yeah. No, I used to love those games as well. Then you had the horrible Resident Evil shooting games as well.
Yeah, never played any of them. Did they get worse as they got on?
Oh,
like,
completely.
Some real shit ones on the Wii.
Oh, they're terrible. There was definitely them trying to cash in and keep sort of the bankroll going.
Yeah, I wouldn't. Yeah, never really played any of them.
Yeah.
Just trying to think, what else is there? PS1 that I love. Oh, I picked up Clock Tower a wee while ago.
That's a great game.
Yeah, I haven't actually played it yet, and you and the other people on the forum said it's actually quite rare or uncommon or something.
Yeah, especially to get complete.
Yeah, which it is, except it's missing the insert, I think.
Oh, guts.
Well, it's pretty much complete. Well, it's more complete than most PlayStation 1 games out there.
Yeah.
Disc looks pretty fucking mint, actually. I can't see any real... A little light scuffing, but nothing serious.
Yeah.
I might have to jam that this weekend.
Well, anyway, I reckon that's just about us for this week.
Yeah, like I said, my Christmas wish is let's not be dicks. Let's be good to each other, look after each other, because that's what community is all fucking about, right?
Yeah, completely. I'll tell you what, if anybody out there thinks we've missed anything, or you've got some PlayStation memories, or you want to share your thoughts on the movie Game Over, tweet us. I'm at Phid McAwesome.
And I'm at am I evil underscore cut or just evil cut? I'm evil cut, aren't I? Yeah, there we go. It's been a while since I've used my own Twitter.
Yeah. And on Instagram, I'm Phid McAwesome on there as well.
Yeah, and my gaming one is gaming underscore card, but I think I can't actually remember my login for that. So I think I may start just using my personal one, which is evil underscore card.
Yep. And of course, you can leave comments on Hashtag Radio's Facebook page, which is facebook.com/hashtag Radio NZ. And I've also got my Tumblr, which is Phid McAwesome .tumblr.co.com.
Nice. And I think we will do an episode before Christmas.
We'll try and squeeze one out, definitely. If anyone's got any suggestions what we should talk about.
Yeah, maybe Christmas games.
Yeah.
There's not very many, but it'll be a short episode.
Well, there's one particularly expensive one, which we could probably talk about.
1 Mega Drive one.
Yeah.
I think I know the one.
Yeah. So anyway, I think that's just about us. Make sure you reach out, let us know. We love getting the interaction as well, especially when everyone's commenting about what we're about to talk about is awesome. But we'd also love to hear your opinions about what we have talked about.
Yeah, even if it's good or bad, we can take it. We're grown men.
Exactly. And
Phid may cry, but it's okay.
I'm just going to quickly chuck some plugs in there as well. We have got hashtag me is going to be launching the new gaming podcast that we spoke about earlier. So keep your eye out for that. Check out our other podcasts as well, which are on hashtag me.co.nz. And I think that's just about us.
Don't forget to hit save.
#me.co.nz